Greetings folks, and I hope you're all happy and healthy in your vault, wherever that happens to be. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And I have to say, I am super excited for this one, which is no small achievement at my age, I can tell you. And as Mrs. Scofigure will attest to, yes folks, it's Threezero's eagerly anticipated reissue of the T60 Power Armour from Fallout. Usual format folks, box, accessories, figure, then showcase at the end. But before we dive in, I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone who supported the channel, and please drop a like on this review as it helps other people find Go Figure. And if you haven't already, please mash that subscribe button and bell notification icon. It's cost and pain free, and not only will you be sure not to miss any of the 1/6 scale goodness that we've got in store, and trust me, there's a hell of a lot of it, but you'll be able to sleep better in your vault at night, secure in the knowledge that you helped an old collector in his quest to find the perfect plastic person. So, background, Threezero released a number of iterations of the Power Armour from Fallout over the years, which have quickly become super scarce grail pieces, which you literally will have to sell your firstborn on eBay to afford on the aftermarket. So when Amazon released their outstanding TV show, the take on the Bethesda video game earlier this year, Threezero decided to ride the lightning, so to speak, and reissue their take on the T60 Battle Armour, and here it is. But that's enough of my ramblings, onto the box, and a huge box it is too, as you'd probably imagine with the armour in 1/6 scale. We will do our best to navigate it. We're going to do this in front of the details, but we'll just squeeze in on the desk, so we'll have a quick look around. What you've got on the front here is what I believe is a picture of the armour itself, fully suited up, really, really nicely done. It's got this sort of how can I put this weathered look to it, the box as well as the armor, but it's a really, really nice shot of the Power Armor. It says T60 Power Armor in the bottom left hand corner. You've got Threezero's logo and 1/6 scale figure logo in the bottom right there. Fallout in this sort of silver lettering at the top there, and Bethesda in the top left hand corner. I will try and manhandle this box. On the left hand side it's pretty open, because what you've got are two boxes inside, and it's sort of this book type effect going on, but we'll get those out and have a look at them. It says Fallout on the side there in the recognizable Fallout lettering. Around the right hand side, once again, Fallout in that silver foil lettering. You've got this sort of hole in the middle here with this cog design. It says T60 Power Armor, Threezero at the bottom again, and all the way up the sides here you've got this sort of rivet effect, and the whole box itself has sort of got this metallic battered look about it, which is really, really nicely done. So around the back, if this is the back, once again another shot of the armor itself in profile this time, some more bolts running down the sides, and it says T60 Fallout and Power Armor. On the top and bottom of this, and I'm going to try and get this in shot, once again you've got those bolts, and it says Bethesda and Fallout on the top, and you'll have to take my word for it, that's repeated on the bottom, because this box is so big. Getting to look at the bottom might be a bit of an issue, but yeah, that's the box. So let's get these two internal boxes out and have a quick look at those. Okay folks, so inside the humongous box are two smaller boxes. On the left, behind the clear plastic window, is the figure itself with the weapons and some bits and pieces. On the right hand side, once again, clear plastic window, but with all the battle armor, all the bits and pieces of the battle armor. This is a brand new figure, literally just come through the door, gone straight in front of the camera, and I've got to thank Mr. William Wang at this point over at One Man's Hobby for sourcing me this figure, and as always there'll be a link to his website in the description below if you're wanting to check out all the 1/6 scale figures he's got there. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack the seals on these two boxes, dive down onto the table and find out what this T60 Power Armor is all about. Okay folks, so your eyes do not deceive you. This is all the pieces of the Power Armor out and onto the table, and there's a hell of a lot of it. Not technically accessories, these pieces on the right here. These are the armour to be attached to the figure itself. The only real accessories probably are the weapon and the magazine. But we'll take a look at a few random bits and pieces of the armour just to check on sort of sculpt and paint application and so on. If we were to go through every individual piece, we will be here until 2026. What you do get in the box though is a warranty card. Now you're going to need a degree in engineering if you are planning on picking this piece up, but you do get a warranty with it as well, so that's nice to see. So there's a warranty card. We'll pop that to one side if there is one side of space left to pop it to. You get a set of instructions. Now I will not be putting these to one side as Mr. Gofugger normally does with his instructions, because yeah, as you can see, this is complex. This is a big job here, so yeah, we'll be hanging on to those. But yeah, and there's some picture instructions on the other side as well, and this is all about attaching the armor to the figure itself. So moving swiftly on, let's take a look at the weapon first. Now the vast majority of the battle armor itself is plastic. The only real metal I'm seeing here is in the magnets that attach the pieces of the armor to the figure itself. Now some of the armor is snap fixed by the looks of it, some of it is magnetically attached. This is a brand new figure, as I mentioned before, and brand new to me, so voyage of discovery. It is, as I say, vast majority plastic, so it's not coming in with the sort of the same weight and heft as say a die-cast Iron Man piece or something like that. I mean, this is a prime example. The weapon here is all one piece of sculpted plastic, I think, he said confidently, but yeah, I'm pretty certain from the weight here and the temperature of this that it's sculpted plastic, and it's very nicely done too. The actual sculpt looks screen accurate to me, and the paint applications look on point. You've got this gunmetal paint application on the barrel here that runs down the full length of the gun. There's a sight on top there. The wooden sections are perhaps a little bit on the simplistic side with the hilt and the stock there, but overall, yeah, the sculpt is pretty nice. Perhaps not the most detailed sculpt I've ever seen, but the paint applications are pretty good. Perhaps I'd like to see a bit more weathering on the stock and the handle, but overall nicely done. There's no moving parts on this gun that I can see anyway. And I would say as well, I did notice this straight out of the box. Now this handle section here and here at the top of the gun are actually they're made out of a very soft plastic. Now that's probably a good idea. Simply because then they won't snap off, so there's some give to them, but similarly they could easily disform, so I would say, yeah, keep an eye on those. But overall, yeah, sculpt is pretty good, paint applications are nice, and yeah, that's the gun. Also comes with the magazine that simply slots into the side here. There's a little gap there, you can slot the magazine in, and it's the same story of sculpt and paint application on there. There's dry brushing, black dry brushing on there to give it that weathered look, but overall, yeah, pretty nicely done. So that's the gun. We'll take a look at one of the grenades. These are quite nicely done. Got that yellow paint application. I'll try and get this in as close in as possible. Once again, some black dry brushing on the bottom section there and on the top, and there's that red dot there as well. And you get a couple of those. So yeah, you get a swap out magazine as well for the weapon, for the rifle stroke machine gun. So you can have a straight magazine coming out the side, or alternatively you can have that round chamber there, and I sort of like that round one, I must admit. I like the look of that. It's got that sort of almost antique look to it. So yeah, 2 magazines. Now let's grab a couple of pieces of this power armor at random just to check the detailing on here. As I say, we're not going to go through all of it. This is one of the thigh pieces, made out of plastic, relatively simple sculpt here, but overall, yeah, the paint applications are nice. There's no moving parts on this, and I'm assuming this just simply slots over the top of the body itself, but the paint applications are really good to give it that metallic look. It's got sort of a brown dry brushing to almost replicate rust if the light's catching this around the edges there and around the front, which is really nice to see. And there are scratches and dinks on here. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And overall, yeah, it's been weathered, It's been dirtied up at the back here with scratches again, and yeah, it's convincingly metallic look that they've got here with the paint applications on the plastic. Yeah, obviously 2 sections of those. Let's grab another piece at random. This is the back section. I am assuming, he said confidently, and I am assuming that this actually slots into here, or maybe not, I could be wrong. I need to check the instructions between takes, but once again, yeah, this has got some weight to it, this piece, because I think it's got a magnet. Yeah, I think this there's a magnet in the back here for attaching it to the back of the figure, and there's also 4 magnets in these canisters as well. So yeah, this particular piece has got some weight to it. Those pieces without magnets in obviously are a lot lighter. But yeah, once again, you've got that same level of detailing and paint application. You've got that brown weathering going on there. This pipe in the center here is rubber, and there's I believe it's rubber. Yeah, and there's 4 of these in total, and you get some others which I'm assuming are going to be attached to the main body once the whole thing's put together. But yeah, they've got flexibility in giving those, but they have had a paint application on them as well to give them that sort of dirtied up look with what looks like some black dry brushing on there. So yeah, the back panel, really nicely sculpted, really nicely painted, and very convincing as metallic. Let's grab another piece. Let's check one of the we'll check one of the shoulder armor pieces, and it's the same story here again. Once again, magnetically attaches, and it's that same level of sculpt and paint application with that weathering to give it that battered, like it's been into battle look. And I'm really liking these brown sort of paint applications around the edges to give it that slightly rusty look. So yeah, that's one of the shoulder pads. The last piece we'll take a look at before we bring the figure out, we'll take a look at the helmet. Now, this pegs directly onto a ball joint. There is another head sculpt as well, which we'll take a look at when we bring the figure out. I'll try and get this as close into camera as possible because I am some distance away. And I've got to say, I really do like this this helmet sculpt. I think the screen accuracy is there and on point. I think they most certainly captured the look very well. You've got these plastic hoses at either side, so I would say exercise caution with those, but they are, because they're quite tight, you don't want them catching on anything, they might come off. But you've got that same weathering going on as you've got on the pieces of armor themselves, with those browns in there. And once again, you've got scratches, dinks, and it's weathered but not too weathered, which is nice to see. There's a lot of scratches on the top of the helmet there, which look really good. And overall, yeah, very convincing 1/6 replication of the Power Armour helmet. While we're on the subject of this helmet, now it has a light up feature, this particular figure, and what you do here is you remove the back portion of this helmet if it'll come away and it doesn't want to move on camera. It simply snaps into place, and then you've got the usual story, button cell batteries in the back here. Now there's supposed to be 3 in there, but by some miracle, after about several hours of struggling, I managed to get 2 in there, and it will light up. I'm gonna level this criticism now, and I'm not going to wait until the end for final thoughts on this. We are in 2024, rapidly heading towards 2025. Currently, there is a man-made probe which is traveling faster than any man-made object has ever done in history, and it's flying closer to the sun than anything has ever been. Yet down here on Earth, we are still using button cell batteries. What can I say? Please, Hot Toys, Threezero, any 1/6 scale company out there who's listening to this, and please just stop it. We have come on in leaps and bounds in technology. We have wireless charging, we have USB-C. Why on God's green earth are you still using these ridiculously fiddly, almost impossible to get in, 0 lifespan batteries in 1/6 scale figures? Get a grip, pull yourselves together, and step into the 2025 with the rest of us. Let's pray that probe out there going past the sun discovers intelligent life, because sometimes I wonder if there's any down here on Earth. But yeah, that's my rant over. So yeah, button cell batteries, I do apologise. It is a particular bugbear of mine in the 1/6 scale world. But yeah, you insert, if by some miracle you manage to get 3 batteries in there, there's a button on the side here. You press that button there, and I don't think under this light you're going to get a particularly good idea, but you can possibly see there that the lamp on the top of the helmet lights up, as do the eyes. This is not going to last very long, simply because I could only get 3 batteries in there. It's impossible, 2 batteries rather. It's impossible to get to, and that switch is a bit on the sticky side as well. I would exercise caution there. It feels a little bit. What's the word I'm looking for? In fact, it's doing it now. It's sticking already. Yeah, so I won't be using the light up feature in this particular piece. I don't tend to use button cell batteries in any of my figures, as regulars to the channel will know. I'll be taking them out at the end of this review, and it will be getting displayed as is. But if you are somebody who does use the button cell batteries and those features, watch out for this button. It is not the best in the world. It feels, I've got to say, it feels cheap. It feels cheap and nasty. So yeah, that's the helmet. That's pretty. As I said, we're not going to go through all the pieces of armor here, as we'll be here all day. You've got rubber hoses on this section, which I believe is a portion for the chest. You've got pads for elbows, which have got the same level of sculpt and paint application on them. You've got these canisters that magnetically attach, which are nicely sculpted and painted as well. So overall, yeah, paint application's really good, and the screen accuracy looks there, and the detail looks there. Just watch out for that ridiculous light up feature in the head there. So what we'll do next is we will bring out the unarmored figure, have a quick look around it, and then Mr. Go Figure will test his own patience and try and construct this entire piece off camera. Okay folks, so here he is. It's the figure itself, straight out of the box, straight onto the turntable. No stand, as always, with Threezero figures. Come on Threezero, get a grip. We could use a decent stand from you. It'd be nice. Yeah, first impressions. Obviously this is without the vast majority of the armor on. This is sort of the naked version, so we say. And I've got to say, first impressions are pretty good. The proportions look on point, the attention to detail looks there. I'm liking what I'm seeing with the paint applications and the colours, but we'll do as we always do. We'll take a close-up look at him, we'll stop him from spinning and dive in as we always do. Now, yeah, talking of proportions, you've got to remember here, and straight away you can see this. The armour is outsized, even with this sort of this endoskeleton look that he's got here before the armor's attached. You can see his feet are down here, so obviously the proportions of the head and so on are going to look a little bit off against the body, but that's simply because of the bulk of the armor. But yeah, let's get him into shot and take a look now. First thing that struck me as soon as I picked this guy up is how light he is for his size, and that's because, as with the accessories, there's very little metal here. The only real metal on this piece are the magnets that correspond to the magnets on the armor. So yeah, quite light. I was expecting something a little bit heavier, more in the ilk of maybe, you know, your Hot Toys die-cast Iron Man figures, but yeah, it's got some heft to it, but it's not ridiculously heavy. The vast majority of all of this machinery that is attached to is plastic. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Now the feet. Several concepts going on here. The feet themselves have got several moving parts. There's this clip at the front which moves. The foot itself, and this is super stiff here, so bear with me as I try and get this to move. But the front section is on a ratchet, not dissimilar to a sort of a split cut boot design thing going on here. So you can have some movement in the toe section there, if the camera's catching that. The feet themselves, as you can probably see in that gap under there, are pegged directly in. So there's no lateral movement because of these sections of armor going on here. So really, all your movement is going to be down to these front toes, and they do swivel on those balls in the ankle there. There is a certain amount of give backwards and forwards. So with a combination of this sort of split toe design and that ball there, you are going to get some forward and backward movement, but none laterally. That's all going to have to come from the legs. The armor itself, I've got to say, very good paint applications and sculpt going on here. Really is convincing as metallic. There's chips here, there's black dry brushing to give it that weathered look. The paint applications are really nice, and it certainly does come off as metallic. All the way up here you've got scratches and weathering and dinks and so on. And the colours, once again, they struck me straight out of the box as well. You've got blues going on in this armour, there's purples, there's oranges in these pipes in the abdomen section, purples in the pipes in the chest area, there's reds, blues. Yeah, just a really nice combination of colours going on here. Around the back, it's the same story. Now you can see his feet are actually on these platforms inside the armour, and the back of the shoes are painted quite nicely, if a little simplistically. Now the suit underneath here, now I think this is pleather. I'm going to chance my arm and say this is pleather, but the suit he's wearing underneath here, and you can see this in the top of the thighs here at the back, feels like pleather. It's been nicely painted, this bright blue with some black washes on there to weather it. Let's check the articulation at the knees here. Now the knees are solid plastic, so let's see how these, I'm assuming these are on a ratchet. Yeah, these are ratcheted, and that feels like a nice solid ratchet going on there. And these knee sections here are hard plastic, unlike the arms, but we'll get to those. Yeah, they've most certainly got some decent level of movement in there. You're only going to get it up to about there on the leg, but considering how it's constructed and the armour, the plastic armour itself, I think that's a pretty decent range of motion. Around the back, that weathering is continued. Up to the waist section here, you've got this armour plating on the back. Once again, this is all solid plastic, this section here. There are some softer plastic sections. This section, these two sections around the waist here are a soft, almost rubber, maybe a soft plastic, but they feel like rubber. Let's just lift the arm up here so we can get underneath and see the details. Now these arms, while we're here actually, these are really solid ratchets. You can probably hear that. That's probably the loudest ratchet I've heard in a long time. But yeah, paint applications again on these soft plastic stroke rubber sections are really nice to give it that metallic look. The pipes are all weathered as well with that black paint wash. Let's check the articulation in the shoulder area here. Now I'm assuming, yeah, that's another ratchet. So it's ratchets all round for this guy. I'm assuming there's going to be very little movement in the waist, if any at all. Yeah, you're not going to get an ab crunch out of this guy. I think it'd be a bit optimistic to think I would. Yeah, chest area, really nicely done. Obviously, two magnets there for attaching the main portion of the chest armour. Once again, these red sections have been nicely weathered. You've got silver dry brushing on there to give it that metallic look, and overall the appearance of metal here is very convincing. Let's check these elbow joints. Now I'm assuming these are ratcheted as well. Yeah, yet another really solid ratchet going on there. Now the material underneath here obviously isn't hard plastic like it is on these knee sections. Feels like it could be a rubber, so I would say exercise caution if you're putting this guy in a dynamic pose, especially around the arm area, because I mean once you're getting it up to there, you're going to start to strain the back area here, and we don't want that cracking or falling apart. But yeah, let's take a look at the detailing on these arms. The level of detailing here really is absolutely spot on. I am super impressed. But once again, you've got all kinds of chips in the paint applications and those paint washes to give it that metallic look, and coming down to these hands, which are pegged in. They're on a ball joint. You've got these plastic sections on the over the hand itself, which are painted to look like a metal. And collectors of Threezero figures, and I've only got one of the Threezero figure in my collection, and it's the super large Optimus Prime, the XL version, and he has these same kinds of hands as well. Now these hands are all plastic, and they are all on ball joints, as I believe. Now I'm just gonna have to, because it comes in the box with these hands are all up, but once you, if I can, these are super stiff. But yeah, the fingers are all articulated. Some nice paint applications on there. Some rust type effect paint applications, the same as the main body of the armor. But yeah, I believe there are ball joints inside those hands there. You can see here on the thumb that you can actually expose that ball joint is exposed on the thumb there. But we'll try and get this thumb to come out. And this is designed for gripping the accessories with, and each of these fingers is individually articulated. You've got the ball joint where it meets the hand, then you've got a couple of joints in the fingers themselves for gripping the accessories. Now, one problem I had with the Optimus Prime was over the years these can become quite loose. So I would say, yeah, watch out if you're constantly shifting out poses here with these hands. As I said, my experience of them is that they can become quite loose, but overall, yeah, they look convincingly metallic, and they're nicely done overall. Yeah, and they can pop out though. I noticed that with the Optimus Prime as well, so you're constantly having to put them back in, but time will tell if this figure has a similar issue. So let's take a look at the head sculpt. Now, I'm going to say this straight off the bat because I have played numerous of Fallout games. The Threezero website sort of gives a carte blanche and says this is just from the Fallout series, so I can't tell you specifically who this character is. I don't think that this is a resculpt on this head, because I believe this is the one that came with the first issue of this figure. So don't ask me who the character's name is. He does bear more than a passing resemblance to Aaron Moten, the guy who played the guy powered up in the Power Armour in the TV show, so that might just be a coincidence. But the head sculpt itself, I think, is pretty good. I think the skin textures are nice, that 5 o'clock shadow, that moustache going on, the eyes are nice and glassy. The hair itself with that sort of shaved hair going on is nicely textured. There's a minor seam line across the top there, but it's not really worth speaking of. You've got that pleather undersuit as well coming up around the neck area. Now to swap out the heads, and I took this off camera before doing this shot. I'm not so certain this section was supposed to be left behind, but I mean, it happens with 1/6 scale figures, and it's just simply a case of popping that section off there. You said confidently if it will come off, and then you could, once you've attached the armor, you can pop on the helmet. But we'll take a look at that when we've suited the guy up. So yeah, we'll stick that back on, and that head sculpt just slots back on top there like that. And I think that it's a very good head sculpt, even though I don't know who the hell it is. I think they've done a good job there. I think overall, yeah, paint application's good, proportions are on point. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good start here. So I think what we should do next is let's suit this guy up, let's get all the armor attached and see how this thing looks in its complete form. Okay folks, so here he is, all armored up. It's T60 Power Armour, and completed after a little bit of time. It's not the easiest process in the world. It's not the most difficult applying the armor, but it takes a little bit of patience. And the end result, well, it speaks for itself. I think this is incredibly imposing and incredibly impressive. As a 1/6 scale representation of the Power Armour from the video game and from the TV show, I think it's absolutely superb, and really is an imposing piece. And it'll be getting a shelf to itself in the display. I think you can have it as a centerpiece even. Plus sides on this. Paint applications, really good. The sculpt, excellent. The attention to detail and the screen accuracy are all on point. And I think, yeah, the articulation, that body, considering the amount of armor this guy's carrying, I love the solid ratchet joints they've put in there, and the articulation is actually quite good considering. Downsides. Where to begin? Well, I'm not going to bang on about the button cell battery issue in the helmet. We all know my feelings on that. I said it before, I'm not going to say it again, it'll just make me more angry. I think when constructing it, a lot of the pieces, some of the pieces around the lower leg, around the thigh area, around the bicep and the forearm, come as one piece, but you have to split them into two and then reattach them. And some of the tolerances on the plastic can be a little bit difficult. It can feel like they're going to break on you. They don't, and they didn't on me anyway. But it can feel a little bit like you're pushing it beyond the plastic's tolerance levels, which can feel dangerous. So yeah, that can be a bit problematic. Some of the magnets on one or two of the pieces actually came out. They'd not been secured properly, so obviously I had to reattach those. A bit of crazy glue. Not a major issue, but yeah, it is what it is. Those hands can be a bit problematic as well. People who've had Threezero figures, particularly the Transformers, as I mentioned at the top there, I've got the Optimus Prime. Those hands look great and the articulation is fantastic, but it can be a bit difficult, especially when you're posing with a weapon. My recommendation is to pose the hands first and then place the weapon in the hands. Don't try and get the hands around the weapon and then attach the hands or anything like that, because that ain't going to work. Yeah, those are really the only major issues I've got here. Probably another one as well. How can I put this? In hand, it can feel like the craftsmanship is not perfect. What can I say here? I'm likening it to, say, a company like Hot Toys and maybe one of their Iron Man figures. And I know that's not a fair comparison because this is made out of plastic, it's not die cast. But in hand, it can feel like the quality maybe just isn't quite there, if that makes sense. But maybe that's just me. Maybe you can let me know in the comment section below. But overall, yeah, I think it's a phenomenal piece. I love the TV show, I love the games, and I absolutely love this figure from Threezero. I think they've done a cracking job here, even with its little foibles. So there you have it, folks. That is Threezero's take on the T60 Power Armour from Fallout. What are your thoughts on this piece? Do you have it in your collection? Have you got the original? I've never had my hands on the original. I don't think this is a 2.0 version. I think this is just a reissue, but yeah, are there any differences there between the original and this version? Let me know in the comment section below. What's your take on the games? What's your take on the TV show? What's your take on this particular piece? Nothing is off menu, so please drop a comment in the comment section. And what's coming up on the channel? Well, we have a raft of stuff. In the 6 scale world, we've got stuff from Caustic Plastic, from InArt, from Hot Toys, Susu Toys, Present Toys, Mars Toys, Org Toys. The list is endless. We've got retro reviews, we've got new figures coming in, 6 scale and quarter scale. There's more episodes of Don't Make Me Choose, more episodes of Grail or Fail. Yeah, absolutely bags of stuff on the horizon. So as I mentioned at the top there, please hit that subscribe button and mash that bell notification icon so you're not missing anything. And I suppose all it remains for me to say is a massive thank you for watching, and as always, take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.